I'm going to take you through the process of creating an assignment in Google Forms. Google Forms is a really helpful tool if you want to create assignments that can be graded automatically or at least semi-automatically. So let's get started. If you start from your Google screen and then you just go to Google Forms, this way you can click on the 9 dots and then either it'll be in your first set of options or you can scroll down. There's Google Forms, it's purple. And then they have some templates that you can use very easily. But I'm just going to take you to the blank ones so you can see how everything works and everything comes together. So this is the basic form right here. First thing I usually do is give a title to my assignment. So I'll just call it quiz. And then up here, sometimes the name of the file automatically updates, but if it doesn't, it automatically updated when I just clicked on it. So that makes it really easy. This is going to be the name of the document that you'll see in your Google Drive folder. So just make sure it's something that makes sense to you and is easy to recognize. So if you want to include form description, any more details on this, so this is your quiz for May 2nd, 2020, any information like that, you can just click and go ahead and type that in. Again, this is the title. So we have a question box right down here. You can click directly into the box and type your question out. I always start with the name for the kids. So I ask, what is your name? Or you can just type name. And then you'll see it automatically updates to a short answer question. You can choose from a variety of different question formats. And like short answer would allow the kids to type maybe about a sentence in, paragraph, multiple sentences. You do multiple choice, check boxes, drop down. You can upload files. So if they had a Google slide presentation or a Google document or any other Google assignment that you wanted them to put, you would click on there to add that option. We even have a linear scale, so that would be if you were saying, please rank this book from 1 to 5, 1 being the worst, 5 being the best. You would use that. And we have whole other different options. You can even include the date, but this allows you to choose what kind of question you want to include. So I have, what is your name? The student would type in here, but you don't need to type anything there for now. You can, I always make this required, but this little toggle down here lets you determine whether the student has to answer the question to submit or not. So I'm going to just turn on that required button. And if I didn't like my question, I could click the trash icon to get rid of it. Or if I wanted to duplicate my question, like if you had a pretty similar question stem and you just wanted to repeat it a few times, you click that button right there for duplicate. So this button over here allows you to add different types of content. So if you want to add more questions, you go ahead and press the plus icon. So for me, I have students who from all grade levels. So I usually ask, what is their classroom teacher's name? So I'll go ahead and type that in there for you. What is your teacher's name? And then you'll notice it automatically defaults to short answers. Sometimes it doesn't. So if it was the wrong type of question, I can easily go in here and change it to multiple choice. So if I want to include all the other teachers in here, so Russell. So again, I just clicked and I type in Fawnville, click, Clint. I could add them all in here. If you want to add in other, you can just click on that button to add the other option. So the kids can click on that and type in an alternate question. So that is how you would make a multiple choice option. And yeah, that probably takes it through. So that plus icon, again, is to add a question. The next option is you can import questions. So if you have questions from either other quizzes that you want to reuse, you can import those. As far as I know, they have to be in a Google format. I don't believe you can use a Microsoft Word document, but I could be completely wrong on that. So if you explore this and you find out, yes, you can import from other formats other than Google, please let me know. Anyway, but I will cancel. The next option of a thing that you can add is a title. So this is great if you just want to type in information or add transitions. So I can add a title. Now, I want you to read the following passage. So this, again, is really good for if you just want to give a command or let them know to do something, and it isn't a question, you could add it again with this T. Also, if you want to include links to other websites or just any website, something that isn't Google related, you could have to paste it in the description box down here. So there is a way to add YouTube videos and images directly in, but if you're looking for another kind of website, maybe if I was trying to use my PowerSchool Learning link, I would just go, I pressed Control-C to copy, and then I could do Control-V to paste. This is going to make this an editable link that students can click on to get to your material. So again, if you want to add links into your form, you would go add it as a title, not as a question. And I'll just preview it so you can see what that looks like. So up here on the right side, there's a little eyeball. That's how you preview it. And so far I can see my name is here. I can choose my teacher. This is the student view. And then here, I can see that my link is working. I can click on it. I'm not sure if it'll work because it's PowerSchool. Oh, but it did work. That's fantastic. So now you can double check to make sure your link's in there all right, which I always recommend. Always click your links by just previewing. Okay, so we've done question, we've done importing questions, we've done titles. You can add pictures in to your work very easily. So since I teach art, I use this a lot. You can use the camera function. You can do it by URL, by a website. You can upload your images. You can even search for Google Images. So if I want to look for Da Vinci, I could just type it in, click that icon, and then I find the picture I like, click on it, and click Insert. So Google Forms will allow you to add a little flair, some pictures to this. In addition to pictures, you can also add videos. So this specifically works for YouTube. I've tried using Vimeo and it did not work. So I would recommend, if at all possible, use YouTube videos because it will directly put it into your form as opposed to putting into a link where you'd have to click and then go to a different window. So if you were using YouTube, you would just have your YouTube video ready. You would go to your page, you would select it and either press Control-C or right-click it and copy, and then go back to your quiz, do Control-V or paste. I'll just do Control-V. And then you should see a preview. Oh, and I actually realized I made a mistake there. So you can search for videos directly in the video search option, or you can go to URL and put it in directly. So that looks right, so I just click select. And now I have a video directly in my form, which is fantastic. You can give your videos title, like watch this video. So you can put a lot of your content directly into your form, which I do recommend when possible. Having everything right there makes it really easy for students to find the information they need. So whenever possible, put it in directly. So our last option is for sections. Sections allow you to organize your answers. So if somebody said yes to a certain question, you could tell them, okay, go to this section of questions. And if they said no, you could go to a different section. This may be way beyond what you want to do. So I won't go into that in this video, but this is a really great tool if you want to make your forms really dynamic. Yeah, I'll go into it in another video, I'm sure. So now we know all the different types of information and content we can put in our video. So I want to go through and show you the appropriate settings for your quiz. This is a very, very odd tip that I've found, but it's really important if you want your students to be able to see their feedback. So weird thing I found out is that this default format, this default purple, actually creates an error when students try to see feedback. So you have to change the color of your background to a different color, because purple, if you get an email saying, hey, your grade has been released, they can't see any of your feedback, which can be really important in a lot of subjects. So always go to themes. This is how you change the color, and change it to blue. You can experiment with other colors, but I can guarantee you if you use blue, this form will function perfectly. At least in terms of parents will be able to easily see feedback. If it's purple, for some reason the font goes white and you can't actually see it. No idea why this is an issue, but just remember, go to the customize theme and change the color to blue. All right, so now we have blue, we just close that. Now we need to go into settings. Settings are really important, and they're part of how you make the form do what you want to do. So what we have in general, I currently have it set to collect email addresses. So this is important if you want to give students feedback and contact them about their work. So if you're going to do any sort of feedback in your questions, like if you have short answer questions that you'll have to check, this is something that you need to click. If you have something that has an easy right or wrong answer, like math, this isn't necessary, but I do recommend it for almost everybody because it makes it easy to share back with the kids how they did. So response receipts, this basically means that students can see that they filled out the form. I will leave it up to you whether you choose it or not. So I usually restrict this to users in Winston-Salem, Forsyth County schools. If you have a student that cannot get their email working, you could unclick this, and it would mean anybody with an email who has the link can do this. But for safety, I do usually keep this clicked unless I know for sure there's a student that has an email that's not a Winston-Salem one and they can't use their normal school one. This next option, you can limit it to one response. This is a good option if you only want the kids to submit it once, but there are some times where maybe you would want them to go back in and fix some answers and resubmit. If you want them to do that, I would leave this unclicked. I usually do leave it unclicked, but I will leave it up to you. So here you have an option to see if the students can edit after they submit. This can make it a little difficult for grading because they might change an answer and you might have the old grade. But, you know, if that's something, again, you want to do, especially if you say, oh, you can only have one response in there, I would recommend you click edit after submit. Just keep an eye on it. I don't think there's much of a reason for the students to see summary charts and text responses at this time, but if you want to click that, you could. All right. So next we'll go to presentation. This allows you to shuffle your question order. If that's helpful to you, I've never used it, but it's an option. You can show student progress. So if you have a really long quiz and you want kids to know how many questions there are to go, click that. Show link to submit another response. I've never used that, but I'm not going to unclick it. And you can also set a special response when they finish. So if they say, if you want to make it something like, thank you for submitting your assignment, you know, it's all up to you. So it's very easy to customize. This last one, which is very important, you need to make this a quiz. This allows you to assign point values to your questions. So this next option is locked mode on Chromebooks. I wouldn't recommend you click this. Yeah, I just wouldn't recommend you click it. It makes more work than you'd imagine it would. So this is important. You can release the grade, or kids can get back their grade immediately, which is good for assignments that have a hard black and white answer, or if it's multiple choice or something like that. You can have that clicked, and that makes it very easy. But this next option later on manual review is perfect if you have any questions that don't have a straightforward answer. If you're working with short answer questions or any typing or anything like that, this is much easier to work with. So I'm going to go ahead and click that. So when they get their feedback, when you go through and you grade your work, they can get an option to click and see the missed questions, the correct answers, and point values, unless you unclick this. So correct answers. I try to take away correct answers myself because I kind of want them to think it through, but this is all up to you. What do you want them to be able to see? So once you've gone through all these and you've made your choices, and again, most important one, make this a quiz and then determine when you want the grade to be released, just click Save. Now it's time to show you how to assign point values. Now that we've made it into a quiz, each one of these questions has the ability to stand for points. So what we do first is we click on our questions. So I already clicked one, but you just go ahead and click, and then you'll see at the bottom there is the option to click the answer key. This is where we decide how many points it will be worth. So if I wanted, you know what, I'm just going to give them 2 points for putting their name on their paper. So the way I do that is just over on the right side, it was 0, and then if I just type it in, I can just press 2, or I can backspace and put in 2. You can put in however many points you want in this box. But basically it just means if they get this right, they have the option to get those points. So currently this is this was the question, what is your name? So if this was a black and white question, like what color is the sky? I could go ahead and add a correct answer. If this was a math question or something like that, which had a correct answer, I could go ahead and click and type it in. You can also type in variations. So if you were doing something with numbers, you could do 9, 9, 9, you know, whatever. Sometimes the formatting is a little different. You can also add as many correct answers as you want. You can also click the option mark all other answers incorrect. Again, that is very helpful if there's one single answer to your question, but because this is their name, that doesn't make any sense. So we're gonna get rid of all those options and just click done. What we'll do is we will later on, we will manually assign points to that. So basically, if this is a short answer question, all you need to do is just tell the form how many points it's worth, and that's all you need. And then here I have a multiple choice question, which is a little bit different. So again, I click on the question, and then I go to answer key. I'm going to choose to make it worth 5 points this time, so I'll just click, fill it in. And then currently I have Miss Russell's name marked as the correct one. So it could, if you're doing multiple choice, you can click whichever one is the correct answer, and you can also click multiple ones. So if all 3 of these are correct, I could click them, and if I clicked one by accident that I didn't mean to, I could just click again, and it's unselected. And you can also add automatic feedback. If it was, again, a one correct answer and they got it wrong, you could say, you know, think about how we use fractions to solve this problem. You know, if it's, you can include feedback like that, or try again just by clicking there and say, for incorrect answers, try again. Correct answers, you can set in feedback, good job. That's all up to you. You just click save to save that. Again, this is about asking their teacher's name, so that doesn't really make sense, but please use these skills as needed. So once I'm all done with that, I just click done. And now I have points associated with this. Currently, this quiz will be worth 7 points. And when we go to responses, it's going to automatically tally it all for you. So, oh, actually, it even has it right up here. So you can keep track of how many points you're using so far. So that's all you need to do in terms of grading. You just go to answer key, put the number of points, and if there is a correct answer, go ahead and put that in. And if you want any feedback for either incorrect and or correct answers, you can fill that in as well. Okay, so we are ready to share our quizzes with our students. So the way we can do that once all of our points are in there and all of our questions are in there is you just click send. And then you do have the option to send this to email it individually to students. But what I usually do is I go to the second option, click on the link, and I shorten the URL so it's easy to use. And what I basically do is I copy this and paste it onto my PowerSchool Learning page, my Class Dojo page, my Google Classroom, basically wherever you're sharing your assignments, you can easily just use this link and the kids can just click on it on their phone, on their computer, on their Chromebook, and they can get to work. And I just close. Okay, so I'm going to go through here just like a kid would do, and then I'm going to submit a response so we can see what it looks like when a kid actually fills one of these out. You can also do this yourself if you want to see how it works and make sure everything works. So I'll preview, again, clicking that eye icon. I'm going to put in my name. I'm just going to click through this. Oh, beautiful picture, yay. And I'm going to test, make sure my video works. You'll see it's a little small, but it's all in there. And here I could send a copy of my responses. That can be good if they're doing long writing prompts, but you know, that's completely up to the person. So you'll notice now that responses has a 1 next to it, which means I have one person who's turned in their work. So to look at that, I would go ahead and click on it. Just one quick tip. When you've created a quiz, it's a good idea to make sure to turn on email notifications so you know when people are filling out your quiz. So the way you do that is just click on that. I'll do that a little slower. You click on the 3 dots and then you click on this option to get email notifications for each response. I recommend this if you unless you're going in and checking every day. This is a really good way to see if a form that you made 2 weeks ago just got a ding. So just go ahead and enable email notifications. So I have a summary of all my responses, which currently is 1, but if I had like 10 responses, I would be able to see how the whole class would be doing by scrolling down. So you can also sort by question, but what I usually do is I go to individual. So for me, I'm often doing manual grading, so I'm going in, reading their answers, and then giving them points. If you were using the automatic grade function, it would just tell you how many points are here. Currently, I have 5 of 7 points. The only reason it's not full credit is because one of my questions is fill in the blank, so it automatically is marked wrong. So I'm going to go in and show you how to fix that. But you'll notice the score has not been released, which means the kid doesn't know what they've got yet. So you can make all the changes you want and then click release score for them to get their results. So here I typed in what is your name. Remember, I made the decision to give you 2 points for putting your name in there. So see how currently it's marked wrong and there are 2 points. So what I do, if I mark 2 out of 2 points and save, now the student has full credit. So this is what you would do for any short answer questions. You would read through their response and then you would give them the point value that you thought was appropriate for their answer. You can also add individual feedback. So if a student got something wrong, or even if they got something right, you can click on this and then add notes. Nice name. And then you can even include a link to maybe a chart or a video if they got the answer wrong. So this is a good way to help kids that are struggling by linking in information that would help them find the right answer. So we'll click save. So now, when we do release scores, which we'll do shortly, what the student will get is an email saying your grade has been released, and they can click on it and see view feedback, and then they'll be able to see all this information. So remember when we changed the theme from purple to blue? If it'd been purple, that feedback option wouldn't work. They would have only seen 7 out of 7 points or whatever. So again, if you are manually grading quizzes or giving a lot of feedback, make sure to change that theme or else that function's not going to work for you. So here, this was a multiple choice question, and I already marked it as all of these answers as correct. So it automatically gave 5 points to this student, or me. So I don't need to change that. It's all right there. And then all my other stuff is just the content. So now that I have the grade is updated, it's right, I could click release score. And then I can write a message, good job, and click send emails and release. So then the student will get an email, again, as I described, and they're all good to go. So make sure to grade your work and send notifications so parents and students know that they can get their score at that point. And if you want to go, once you have multiple responses, you can go through those by just clicking this. Clicking next to the name of the student, and you'll have a whole list, or you can go from left to right this way. So that's how you switch through responses. And to keep them organized, you can easily and automatically put it into a spreadsheet. So if you have like 10 responses and you're good, you are ready to grade, you're ready to put in your grades, you can just click on this icon right here. And then here, you can see my 2 test documents are in here. I actually found that if you delete a response, like if a kid puts in multiple responses and you get rid of one, it will still be kept in this spreadsheet. So now I know, and now you do too. So this will put in all the responses that you have and organize it for you and make it really easy to share all the progress that your students have been making. If you have a quiz that is has all your settings, it has all of your perfect little responses all organized, you can easily make a copy of it by using this button. Click on the 3 dots and you can use make a copy. So that makes it very easy to reuse quizzes if you have a very similar format. You can also add collaborators. So if you want to add fellow teachers, you just click there and add their email. And you can even print out a copy of your form if your parents aren't able to get on Google Forms. Like if you made a multiple choice quiz, you could print this and send them a PDF. So it's very dynamic tool, again, and very flexible. All right, thanks. Okay, so we are ready to share our quizzes with our students. So the way we can do that once all of our points are in there and all of our questions are in there is you just click send. And then you do have the option to send this to email it individually to students. But what I usually do is I go to the second option, click on the link, and I shorten the URL so it's easy to use. And what I basically do is I copy this and paste it onto my PowerSchool Learning page, my Class Dojo page, my Google Classroom, basically wherever you're sharing your assignments, you can easily just use this link and the kids can just click on it on their phone, on their computer, on their Chromebook, and they can get to work. So all I do is just copy it, paste it where it needs to go. And I just close.